OpenAI just dropped Codex plugins. These are ready-built connections to your email, Slack, Calendar, Figma, tools like Notion, and even Canva to help you make social media graphics. You don't have to bother setting up tons of connections anymore. You can just click a button and then automatically have access to all these apps from within Codex. But how does this compare to Claude Code's plugin system, and does it actually work? In this video, I'm going to break down Codex plugins, show you how they compare to plugins in Claude Code, and we'll do some live tests to see exactly how powerful these Codex plugins are. All right, so to start off, what are plugins? We've got the OpenAI documentation right here, which says plugins are installable bundles for reusable Codex workflows. So in that way, they're sounding pretty similar to skills, but if you go down, what you see is that they can contain skills, apps, and MCP servers. And so in that way, they're pretty similar to how it works in Claude Code, where you also can have your own plugins, which here combine skills, agents, hooks, and MCP servers. So Codex recently got sub-agents just like Claude Code did, but they work a little bit differently. And Codex doesn't have the same hooks system that Claude Code does. So Claude Code is able to bundle a few more things into its plugins than is Codex at this point in time. But they do say here that more plugin components are coming soon, so they're going to become an increasingly important and sophisticated part of Codex. If you want to install them, you can either go to the ones curated by OpenAI, which appear in the Codex directory. So if you go to your Codex interface here, you're going to see a new thing here for plugins. And then up top over here, right there, you can see that there's plugins and skills. So I have tons of different skills. Some of these are system skills. Some of them are particular to various projects. But now, under plugins, you're going to be able to see all these different plugins available. You can also use plugins from the command line interface directly, and you can use this plugin creator skill to make your own plugins, either for distribution to your team or for the public at large. Now, what I want to do next is some live tests of these built-in Codex plugins. Are they actually useful, or is this just a gimmick that's been put together by Codex? Let's find out live. So I'm going to come here and try out this Notion plugin. Let's find out exactly how easy or hard it is to connect Notion to Codex. So I'm going to go there, say install plugin, reference memories and chats. Okay, install Notion. All right, then it opens up this ChatGPT screen. I'm going to say connect. Got this thing again, I guess. Connect Notion MCP server. All right, so I've got my Notion plan. I'll say I recognize and trust it and just click continue. There. And now apparently Notion is connected to Codex. So if I come back here, let me X out of this. Notion should now work. So let me try this out. Try in chat. And so if I went like $, and then just typed in Notion, we now see that this Notion MCP server, I guess, comes up. And let me ask it, give me an overview of what's contained in my Notion database. Okay, so we see here that it says called Notion MCP server search tool from Codex apps MCP. So it sounds like this app is working. Okay, interesting. So it's found several Notion databases in my workspace. That's the terminology. Tell me about the AI content creators one. While this is working, I'm going to go and try another plugin. So let's come back to plugins. And now let's try Google Drive. So I'm going to install that, click install Google Drive, come back here, you just click connect. What does advanced settings do? So you can sync or on demand. I guess we'll just stay with sync, say continue to Google Drive. I'm gonna give it access to my business account, press continue, just select all. Cool. So let's come back here to Codex, X out. Google Drive's now there. Let's try it in chat. Can you tell me what the biggest files are in my Google Drive? I want to clear out some space. So I'm realizing now I made a little mistake with Notion, and this is going to be important for some of you. So I already had installed a Notion MCP server, which is distinct. But in order to use the plugins, you got to do the @ sign and then choose the plugin specifically. So I'm going to ask it, can you use the plugin instead to tell me first just about my Notion workspace? Great. So now we're in this Notion plugin flow. So we've got Notion stuff going on. We got Drive stuff going on. Let's try out another plugin. So I thought I've got a Slack one already installed, apparently. So let's try that out. Can you tell me about the latest Slack messages in the all pay slice channel? This is the, oh, I don't want to do that. Oh, that's fine. Created a new work tree. So we got this one. We got this Drive one. So apparently this Drive one can read files, but not storage usage. That's kind of unfortunate. So there are some limitations to these plugins. I guess that's what happens when you have a new feature. And I guess also that the plugins may not have all the accesses that an API can potentially give you. So you can set up the API with the right authentication to be able to delete, create, do whatever you want on Google Drive, on Slack, on Notion, and these other tools. But something you may experience when using built-in plugins. So you see, it's trying to open up my Google Drive in the browser, which is something that I wouldn't want it to do. So I'm just going to cancel it so that it stops trying to operate my browser. But the Notion database one seems to have worked. It's kind of got a good understanding of all the different things that are going on there. So let's ask it, zoom into AI content creators database. So as just another example, I don't use Canva, but I asked my assistant to try the Canva one out because she's a pro with it. And what she told me is that there's some limitations that you got to pay for the pro one, but just pretty easily by using the Canva plugin, she was able to get things like this for Instagram, this, and this created. However, she also got that and that, like Instagram style stuff. But a limitation she pointed out, this is in Spanish, abrí el diseño y sí puedo editar texto. I opened the design and yes, I can edit text. Pero con esta integración no puede cambiar la font family directamente. You can't change the font directly. And so that gets back to my point about these plugins being very useful. Like they're able to do pretty cool things as we're seeing right now from this Notion one, but they're going to have their limitations. So here's one from our Slack channel where we were able to go directly into Slack with this Slack plugin and see some of the different topics that we've been talking about in the last week. So we were trying to get paid testers for this app, PaySlice, for which I'm the director of AI and ML. People weren't showing up. And so we were discussing this and thinking about creating a WhatsApp-based tester pool. And so I hope that was a useful introduction to plugins, their benefits, their limitations. They can be very easy to set up. They seem quite powerful, but then the limitation with some of these built-in plugins is that they may not be completely seamless and perfect in the way that you ideally want them to be. And in my experience, that's very similar to what you'll find with Claude Code plugins. Hope you like this video. If you want to join a big community of people trying to get to the cutting edge of agentic coding, join my school server, the AI MBA, where we have 1,500 people, AI developers, business people, academics, all working together to improve their skills with agentic coding. So until next time, see you guys. Peace out.